Hey, this video is going to be about multiple shifts on the same market. Let's say that we are looking at the market for French wines. Okay, and let's say that they had a really good harvest last year and they got even more grapes than they were expecting, and that's been fermenting in bottles or in barrels, and now it is finished. Okay, so this year we are going to see that there is going to be an increase in the supply of French wines. However, Sonoma County and Napa County wines are becoming more and more popular. So at the same time, there's going to be a reduction in demand for French wines. Okay, so we have two different forces happening on the same market. All right, so to start off with, let's look at where this market is in equilibrium. Let's say that every week or every day that 10 bottles of French wine are sold in, I don't know, some Bevmo. Let's say that in Bevmo there are 10 bottles of French wine that are being sold every day. Okay, and those wines go for, well, let's just say $5 a bottle. This is not expensive French wine. Okay, and now we find out that there is going to be an increase in supply and a decrease in demand, and you've been hired by Bevmo to figure out what's going to happen to the price that they are going to be charging for the French wines. What's going to happen to the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So you get in touch with Bevmo and you say, okay, well, I've been doing my supply and demand graphing, and I see that with the addition of all this new wine that's going to be coming out of France, it's going to cause the supply curve to shift to the right. Okay, so we're going to label that supply 1 in a second, but first let me get my demand shift in there too. And at the same time, there's going to be a reduction in demand. However, we don't know which is going to be a bigger factor, the increase in supply or the decrease in demand. So we'll just draw a random demand curve in there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go back and we will name these. Let's see, we're going to have supply 1 and demand 1. So now you need to predict what's going to happen to the equilibrium price and quantity. Okay, Bevmo is not interested in your graph as much as they are in finding out what's going to happen to the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity for French wines. Well, according to this graph, it looks like the price is going to definitely fall for French wines, but it looks like that the quantity that's being bought and sold is going to stay about equal. Well, that is one possible outcome. When we are graphing two different events on the same market, there are actually three different outcomes that could happen. Okay, so I'm going to start off with three different graphs over here, all that are supposed to represent what's going on with the French wine market. Okay, and then I'm going to increase the supply in each one, and I'm going to decrease the demand in each one. So to start off with, I'm going to have equal shifts where the increase in supply and decrease in demand are about the same. Then I'm going to illustrate one where the increase in supply is larger than the decrease in demand. And the last one, the increase in supply is smaller than the increase in demand. And if you look at all of them, they each have price going down. If we look at our new point of equilibrium, okay, so this is our new point of equilibrium, and this is our new point of equilibrium for these three over here. So all of them show that the price of French wine is definitely going to fall. And we knew that from our graph over here, that the price was going to go down. But the one with equal shifts, there's not going to be a change in the quantity bought and sold. In the one where supply is greater than the decrease in demand, well, yeah, people are starting to like Sonoma County and Napa wines more and more, but this increase in supply in French wines is even greater than how much they're starting to like Sonoma and Napa wines. So that increase in supply is actually going to put so many more wines on the shelf that they're going to increase the amount that they used to sell by 2. Okay, but over here, well, Sonoma County wines are significantly better in the eye of the consumer, and Napa wines are significantly better. So there's an increase in the amount of French wines. Maybe it's only a 2% production increase. Maybe it's not that big of an increase. But the amount that people are switching away from French wines and buying more domestic wines is going to overpower that increase. So here we're going to see that the price is actually going to fall and the quantity is going to fall as well. Here the price falls and the quantity goes up, and here the price falls and the quantity remains the same. So which one is the correct answer? Which one do we need to put back over here and what we tell BevMo? Well, what we'd actually need to tell BevMo is that we can't predict what's going to happen to quantity without more information. We don't know. Is quantity going to go up? It could. It could go down. It could remain the exact same. But we can say for sure that the price of French wines will be falling. Okay. So sometimes when there are two shifts on the same market, we'll have an unknown quantity and sometimes we'll have an unknown price. But unless we're specifically told that one has a larger shift than the other, we cannot make an educated guess as to what's going to happen to both the price and the quantity in equilibrium.